was trying to hang back so if he did kind of lunge towards me at the last second, I could give it some gas and jump in front of him right quick. And he moved over on me a heck of a lot quicker than I thought he was going to. And I almost didn't make it. So I just have finished putting the DNA Stage 2 air filter kit on this thing and getting it flashed for the extra airflow, and getting it flashed was an adventure of my own making. Let's just say I wasted about 2 hours of my own time this afternoon. What happened, you have to swivel the tank up to get to the air box on this thing, and the ground that goes to the flasher for the ECU that I have installed on this thing, the wiring harness, the ground for it is on one of the bolts that holds the tank on, which I had to take off when this all started so I could put the air filter kit in. Well, I get everything else done, and I thought, well, I'll try to go ahead and flash this while it's still took apart, and then maybe if there's an issue I won't have to say that I've wasted time putting stuff together and have to take it back apart and all that stuff. So guess what I didn't do before I started trying to flash this ECU? Yep, I didn't ground that pigtail out. Now, out in my garage is right at the edge of where my Wi-Fi will reach anyway. So I always have issues when I try to do anything out there. You got to have Wi-Fi to flash your ECU with the software that I have. So those issues notwithstanding, what I was getting was, when I would get far enough in the process to where the thing's trying to read the VIN number for the ECU here, it wouldn't recognize it because it couldn't talk to the darn thing to start with because I didn't have it grounded. Well, I tried several times, and it kept taking me to the website trying to get me to buy another use license. Like I was trying to use something that was code locked to this ECU on somebody else's bike, and I'm like, no. So I try to call tech support. Well, tech support's open Monday through Friday, and today's Saturday, so I didn't get anything with that. So I sat down for a little bit and I let myself calm, because I had got pretty mad after about 5 or 6 failed attempts of all this. I sat down, calmed myself, and I thought, alright, I'm gonna go outside. This thing's not getting flashed anytime in the next couple of days, so I'll put the bike back together, and then as long as I've got access to the pigtail under the seat, I should be good to go. So I start grabbing bolts and start putting stuff together, and I get the bolt for that fuel tank in, and it's the bolt where the ground for this pigtail is supposed to go. And I see that loose wire hanging, and I thought, oh, we've had issues with this thing not being grounded out properly, which makes it want to not communicate and not throw the actual error before. So that's probably the problem, and it was. Now after that, I had 3 or 4 times I tried to go ahead and write the ECU. They got interrupted by the Wi-Fi going down, because like I say, I'm right out on the edge of where my home Wi-Fi will reach. But I was getting further along in the process than I had been before I figured out what I was doing wrong. So I knew it was eventually going to work. I had to just keep trying at it. So we got her done. Now I'm test riding it, and instead of doing a good test ride, I'm doing a vlog for y'all about it, because that makes sense. But I did go up the hill. That's the road I live on. This is where that dog was chasing me at. And it does feel like it's got a little bit more pep. Usually the stuff that I have to drop into 4th gear to do on the little short rises and stuff, I was doing those right at the bottom of 5th gear, and it was pulling okay. So I've definitely got more power just by adding that fuel filter or the air filter on, it's already been done 1,000 times by people that have got much better stuff than me and know a lot more what they're talking about than me. But there is one step where everybody's videos are lacking a little bit, and that's the part where you're actually screwing the air filter down into the air box. This air box is plastic, and the bike comes with machine screws in it, or sheet metal screws, whatever you want to call them. They cut their own threads. Well, since you're screwing these things down into plastic, you don't want those screws to waller out a new set of threads every time you take them out and put them back in, because eventually your screws are not going to hold anymore, and you're just going to have a bigger hole than what the screw is. You just keep threading and unthreading in new threads. So there's a way to go about making sure that that screw goes back down in the threads that have already been cut for it. Alright, I've still got just a little bit of battery left, so I'm going to attempt to show y'all what I was talking about on those threads. And the camera's down on my chin, so hopefully this will stay in frame. You see this dipstick right here? Alright, hopefully y'all can see that. If I get this off center and try to screw it down, it treads a little bit. Well, those machine screws cut their own threads. They'll start cutting in right here. So you'll end up with multiple sets of threads in your air box, and you don't want that. So what you do is, when you go to seat that screw, turn it backwards. See that? You could see it drop down. You could hear it drop down. That's in the threads. You can screw it on down. And if you do your machine screws like that, you won't cut extra threads. Alright, one thing I have noticed so far, with the map I had on here before, when it was just the stock bike and the tube rows with the factory intake on it, with the snorkel still on, I had what I thought was the right map on for that, and the bike kind of felt like somewhere about halfway through the rev range, if you wanted to keep accelerating, you'd have to roll more and more throttle on to do it. Like, it was kind of a flat spot there. And now that I've added this new air filter and reflashed the ECU, I don't have that feeling anymore. It feels like it's got its full power all the way up through the rev range. So hopefully that means I've got the right fuel map on here, because it definitely feels quite a bit different than it did before. It's not really that much more power, which I wasn't expecting it to be. It just feels like it's proper, like it should.